Hello all. In this video also we are going to continue our discussion on this age of Mahajanapadas that happened and held and developed during 6th century BC. And along with the urbanization, what we can see there is going to have some kind of social changes. They are simply referred in the title the renunciatory traditions. And in this video we will be discussing about some important renunciatory traditions. Basically, the renunciatory tradition meaning what? The household people, they are going to detach from all the material, physical and social relationship. That is renunciatory tradition. And regarding this renunciatory tradition, there are various names to the renunciants such as Paribhajaga meaning wanderer, otherwise called as Parivrajaka. Paribhajaga or Parivrajaka meaning wanderer. Samana or otherwise called as Shramana meaning one who strives for truth. So there are some words such as Paribhajaga or Parivrajaka, Samana or Shramana, and also we have one word Bhikkhu or Bhikshu, one who lives by begging alms. So these are different words given to the renunciants such as Paribhajaga or Parivrajaka, Samana or Shramana, Bhikkhu or Bhikshu. And one important point is that this renunciatory tradition is not a new during this 6th century BC. Even before that itself, we can see some important reference regarding these renunciatory traditions, especially during this Vedic period, that contained some elements of ascetic or renunciatory connotations, such as the words Vanaprasthi, Tapasvi, Yogi, Yati, Muni, Sannyasi. All such words indicates the existence of this renunciatory tradition during this Vedic times itself. And during this later Vedic period, there we can see the development of Upanishads. And as part of the Upanishad reaction against the ritualistic practice, there developed Dharma Sutra Ashrama system. So there we can see the Ashrama system. As per this, we have this Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa stages of one's life. And Brahmacharya meaning celibate studenthood, Grihastha meaning householder, Vanaprastha going to forest, that is partial renunciation, and Sannyasa meaning the total renunciation. So what we can see in Upanishads and some other Vedic traditions itself, we can have this understanding about this renunciatory tradition even before 6th century BC. The Smriti says as this ashramas or ashrama system, it developed and it was only for this Dvija male. And we know that the Dvija meaning the Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Vaishya who had choice born. And it is only for male. So during this Vedic period, it was only for male and only for the Dvija male. And the Shudras and the other communities were excluded from these renunciatory traditions. So in this video, we will be discussing about some important traditions developed in the post-Vedic period, that is especially along with this development of city culture, Mahajanapadas. One such most important renunciatory tradition was the Ajivikas. We are going to discuss about this Ajivikas. And their most important leader was Makkali Gosala. And we have some important informations about these Ajivikas based on this Jainist Bhagavati Sutra and Buddhist Samannapala Sutra. So there are some important references about these Ajivikas and their leader Makkali Gosala in Jainist and Buddhist text. And the most important feature of this Ajivika sect was their central idea, that is the Niyati doctrine. Niyati meaning the fate. It is said that they believed in karma and the transmigration of soul. At the same time, the human effort that played no role in it, meaning all the actions of human beings are already determined and already planned well. So human effort does not play any role in such kind of things. That theory is called as the Niyati doctrine. And we can see the Ajivika people had regular meeting places and they are called as sabhas. It shows what? They had some kind of organization, meaning that a corporate system of governance there existed among these Ajivikas. And regarding the features of this Ajivika sect, we can see they practiced severe asceticism. But it is said that it is not up to the Chinese and often eating very little food. And they seem to have practiced ahimsa. Ahimsa meaning non-violence and non-injury, but apparently not as strictly as the Chinas. And another important feature is that they practiced complete nudity like the Jainists. Also, we can see these Ajivikas, they didn't practice any kind of discrimination that is based on caste or class. We can see the king Prasenajit, the king of Kosala. He seems to be an apparent pattern of this Ajivika order. And later periods also we can see some important reference and development of this Ajivika sect in India. Especially the Buddhist Mahavamsa says that they could see or they could find these Ajivikas in Sri Lanka, meaning their southernward expansion. And Divyavadana says that there was one Ajivika storyteller in the Bindusara's court. Bindusara was one of the most important and the second Mauryan ruler. So during the Mauryan Empire itself, what we can see, highest patronage received to this Ajivika sect. And Barabar Hill inscription says about Ashoka's dedication of certain caves to this Ajivika community. Similarly, the Nagarjuni Hill inscription says about dedication of 3 caves to Ajivikas by Dasharatha. Dasharatha was one of the later Mauryan king. So we can understand that the Mauryan period, that may be the heyday of this Ajivika set, but there are some references to their continuation in different parts of India, different sources till the early medieval period. So this is about this Ajivika sect in India. Hope the video was useful. Thank you.